The music swells, the doors open, and Amy steps forward in her white dress. But one uneasy glance toward Ty threatens to shatter the perfect picture of this wedding day right now. Asterisk morning spreads a soft gold over the ranch. And for a moment, it feels like the whole world wants this wedding to happen. Ribbons and jars of wildflowers brighten the yard. Folding chairs make a clean path to the wooden arch jack built with careful hands. Lou checks the seating plan again while Katie runs. After a loose ribbon, the wind keeps lifting. Inside the house, Amy faces the mirror. Her hair is simple and neat. Her smile almost holds, yet a small storm turns under her ribs. She tells herself that a little doubt is normal on a big day. She smooths the dress, breathes in, and tries to listen to her heart. It beats steady, but there is a thin thread of worry woven through the rhythm. Question she keeps pushing aside because today is supposed to be about joy and new promises. Outside, guests arrive with soft boot steps and warm greetings. Laughter mixes with birdsong and the far sound of a horse in the pasture. On the porch, Jack scans the drive and finds Ty's truck parked beyond the barn, away from the others, like a shadow that will not step into the light. Jack's jaw sets. Not from anger, but from a quiet worry he will not share. He knows this land keeps old stories, and Amy's heart keeps the oldest one. He also knows the weight a man carries when he holds a hard truth. He tips his hat lower and tells himself that a good day can still be a good day. Even if a storm sits on the edge of the sky, Ty stands by the fence near Spartan's paddock. Hands deep in his pockets, watching the horses breathe the cool air, he repeats a promise to himself. He is here to be happy for Amy. He will stand steady while she walks into a future that does not include him. But the hour draws close, and the weight in his chest will not ease. He remembers calm rides at dusk. The way Amy's laugh could untie a hard day. The quiet trust that used to sit between them like a warm light. He also remembers the message that reached him late last night, a hard piece of news tied to a name and a time that did not make sense. A message that said Nathan was not the man he seemed to be. Ty tried to ignore it. He told himself it could be a mistake. Yet every step of this morning has pressed that message deeper, until silence feels like a wrong he cannot accept. Lou finds Ty at the fence and offers a polite smile that does not reach her eyes. She says Amy will come out soon and asks if he is all right. Ty says he is fine, but the word lands thin and flat. Lou wants the day to pass without trouble. She wants her sister to have a bright start, not more pain. Still, the air feels charged, as if the ranch itself is waiting for a choice to be made. She returns to the aisle. The musicians test a gentle line. Chairs fill. Phones tilt up like small suns. Back inside, Amy lifts her bouquet and studies herself one last time. She looks like a bride from a storybook, yet her heart runs a step behind. She thinks about how fast things moved after Nathan proposed, how plans were set before her mind fully caught up. She hears her own voice from long ago telling her to trust her gut. When she tries to listen now, the house seems too quiet. She draws a steady breath and opens the door. Jack waits in his best jacket, pride and worry sitting together in his eyes. He offers his arm. She takes it, and the floorboards feel real and solid under her feet. The doors open. Sunlight pours in. The crowd rises. Amy and Jack walk the path, the hem of her dress brushing the boards in a soft whisper. Faces blur into warm shapes of joy. Near the back, Ty shifts, caught between hope and duty, between love that lets go and love that protects. Way Amy blinks, a quick flicker of doubt that only someone who truly knows her would see. Nathan stands under the arch with a wide smile and a sharp suit, hands clasped like a man certain of victory. For a heartbeat, Amy meets his eyes and feels a small tug inside, a question that will not sit still. Jack places Amy's hand into Nathan's and steps aside. The officiant speaks about love and patience and trust, and the words drift into the warm morning and settle like dust in a beam of light. Ty hears each word strike a hollow place. If that late message is wrong, he will break this day for nothing. If it is right and he stays silent, he will fail the very promise those words try to guard. He looks to Amy and sees the slight tremor in her fingers. Asterisk, the vows have not yet begun. But beneath the polished smile on Nathan's face runs a current of strain. His eyes dart too quickly toward the crowd, searching for someone, as though he fears being recognized. Amy does not notice. Her mind is a storm of nerves and hope, yet others see what she cannot. Georgie, seated a few rows back, notices how Nathan's hand tightens into a fist behind his back when Amy hesitates at the altar. It is the small slip of a man holding too much inside. Earlier that morning, Georgie had slipped into the kitchen for coffee when she overheard a half-whispered phone call through the mudroom door. Nathan's voice was low, sharp, laced with the threat he tried to hide. She caught only pieces of it. They can't know yet, and keep quiet until after today. At the time, she brushed it off, thinking it might be about wedding nerves. But now, watching him under the arch, the words replay like a warning she failed to understand. Her pulse quickens, and she bites her lip, wondering if she should speak or stay silent. Jack, meanwhile, sits rigid in his chair. Years of ranch life have taught him to sense when something is off, even if he cannot name it. He studies Nathan's posture. The smile feels painted, the charm rehearsed. Jack wants to believe Amy has chosen well, but his gut pulls in another direction. He reaches for his hat brim and lowers it, as if shading his doubt. He thinks of Ty standing by the fence, shoulders weighed by something he has not said. Jack has lived long enough to know that silence before truth is often the loudest sound of all. The officiant begins to speak again.
Ow.
Drawing everyone's attention back to the couple, Nathan squeezes Amy's hand, perhaps a bit too tightly, and she flinches. It is subtle, almost hidden, but Ty sees it from the edge of the crowd. The moment cuts him, sharpening the memory of the message he received last night. He recalls the shaky voice on the other end of the phone, a stranger who claimed to know Nathan's past. Words like debt, betrayal, and broken promises had spilled out, words Ty tried to dismiss as rumor. Yet here in the stillness of the vows, those words seem to find shape in Nathan's grip. Lou shifts in her chair, restless. She notices Amy's forced smile and the way her eyes flicker down instead of meeting Nathan's gaze. Lou's heart aches. She has seen Amy strong, certain, unshakable when it comes to horses and healing. But this feels different. Feels as though Amy's trying to convince herself to believe in a dream that no longer fits. Lou clasps her hands in her lap, praying silently for courage to land where it is most needed. The ranch itself seems to hold the secret. The breeze has stilled. The horses in the pasture stand alert, ears pricked forward, as though listening to a sound no one else can hear. It is the kind of quiet that carries weight, the kind that comes before thunder. Everyone present feels it. In some way, though none will admit it aloud then. Just as the officiant asks if the couple is ready to exchange vows, a sound slices through the hush. A phone buzzes from the pocket of a groomsman, Nathan's best man. He glances at the screen, face draining of color before he shoves it back into his jacket. Nathan's eyes snap to him, sharp with warning, and for a split second the mask slips. Smile falters, his jaw clenches. Amy notices. For the first time, she wonders what exactly Nathan is so afraid of. The crowd stirs at the interruption, but the officiant waves it off and carries on. Amy turns her head just slightly, and her gaze catches Ty's across the aisle. There is something in his eyes she cannot read. Pain, yes, but also certainty. It rattles her more than Nathan's falter. In that gaze, Amy feels the weight of something unsaid, something urgent. And in that moment, her heart knows what her mind still fights to deny. Nathan is not the man she thought he was, and the truth is walking toward her. Carried by Ty's steady, unshaken stare, asterisk, the officiant's voice flows like calm water, steady and practiced. But for Ty, each word strikes like a hammer against a fragile wall he can no longer hold up. He feels the moment breaking, an invisible line he must either cross or regret for the rest of his life. The crowd leans in to hear the vows, unaware of the storm about to split the silence. Ty's boots press against the dirt aisle as if the earth itself is testing him. Stand still, and watch Amy step into a life built on lies. Or move forward and carry the weight of truth, no matter the cost. His breath tightens. He remembers the late call again, this time not just the words, but the tone, the edge of fear in the stranger's voice. Nathan had left behind someone bitter and broken, someone who swore Amy would never know peace if she tied herself to him. Ty told himself it could not be real, but the look in Nathan's eyes just now, sharp and unsettled, proves too much. This is not only about love, this is about Amy's safety, her future, and the ranch that means everything to her family. As Nathan prepares to speak his vow, Ty steps forward. One boot scuffs the dirt, loud enough to draw eyes. A murmur rolls through the crowd, soft gasps. Mixing with the rustle of dresses and chairs, Amy turns her head, startled, her lips parting as if she cannot believe what she sees. Nathan freezes, the confident smile slipping like a mask caught in the wind. Ty's voice cuts the silence, low but clear. Stop. This can't go on. The words fall heavy, carrying more than emotion. They carry evidence, warning, and the kind of raw honesty that cannot be dressed in polite tones. The officiant falters mid-sentence. Jack rises halfway from his chair, heart pounding. Not in anger, but in a deep sense that the truth has finally stepped into the open. Lou clutches Katie's hand as if bracing for a wave. Georgie's heart pounds in her chest, because she knows what she overheard this morning may fit the very storm Ty is about to unleash. Nathan's face hardens, his hand tightening around Amy so firmly she winces. He leans toward her with a whisper meant only for her ears, yet sharp enough that the first row can hear. Don't listen. He's trying to ruin us. But Amy cannot ignore the shift in Ty's stance, the firm shoulders, the unshaken voice. The eyes that hold no malice, only urgency. This is not a man trying to win her back with jealousy. This is a man who has carried a burden too long and refuses to let her walk blind into it. Ty moves another step forward, his voice gaining strength. Amy, you need to know the truth about Nathan before you say another word. He turns, not to her, but to the guests, the family. To Jack, who deserves honesty. Nathan has been lying to all of you. He isn't the man you think he is. The air sharpens. It's every breath, every glance, every heartbeat in the ranch yard waits for what will come next. Amy pulls her hand free from Nathan's grip and stares. At Ty with eyes wide, torn between shock and fear, she whispers, almost too soft to catch. What do you mean? Nathan snaps, his voice rougher than anyone has heard it. Don't listen to him, Amy. He's desperate. Can't stand seeing you move on. His tone carries anger, but beneath it lies a crack, a tremor. A man who knows his secret is hanging by a thread, and in that crack, the entire wedding begins to unravel. Asterisk, the ranch yard no longer feels like a wedding. It feels like a courtroom. With no walls, where every glance is a question and every silence is a judgment. Nathan's polished smile has slipped away, replaced by a raw edge of panic. He clutches at Amy's hand again, but this time she pulls away fully, her bouquet trembling in her grip. The officiant lowers the book, eyes wide, unsure if the ceremony should continue or collapse. The guests lean forward in a tense hush, sensing that something far bigger than vows is about to unfold. Ty's voice steadies, though his chest thunders. Nathan told you he was building a future here, but the truth is, he's already destroyed one. He holds out a folded envelope, crumpled from being carried all night, as if its weight alone has burned into his pocket. Jack narrows his eyes. Recognizing the seriousness of a man who does not speak without cause, Ty continues, each word heavy. This letter isn't mine. It's from someone Nathan left behind. Someone who thought they were promised the same life he's promising you. Amy. He left them in debt, abandoned, with nothing but lies to carry. Gasps break through the crowd. Lou's hand flies to her mouth. Georgie leans forward as if the world has tilted. Amy stares at the letter, her face pale, torn between disbelief and dread. She looks at Nathan, searching for denial, for explanation, for anything. But Nathan's eyes flare with fury instead of reason. You don't have to. Read that, Nathan snaps, his voice cracking under the pressure. He steps forward as if to snatch the paper, but Jack blocks him with a steady hand to the chest. The old man doesn't raise his voice, but his presence alone forces Nathan back. "If you've got nothing to hide," Jack says calmly, "you won't mind us hearing it." Georgie rises, her voice trembling but clear. "I heard him this morning. He was on the phone, telling someone to keep quiet until after the wedding. He said they couldn't know yet." The words fall into the stillness like stones thrown into water, rippling across every face in the crowd. Amy's breath shudders. She takes the envelope from Ty with shaking fingers. The flap opens slowly as though every second is fighting her. She unfolds the page. The handwriting is rushed, uneven, but the meaning is sharp. Words leap out. Promises broken, money stolen, trust shattered. A name at the bottom, a woman Amy has never met. But one who speaks of Nathan as if she had once stood exactly where Amy stands now. Tears prick Amy's eyes. Not from love lost, but from betrayal unmasked. She lifts her gaze to Nathan. "Is it true?" Her voice is barely above a whisper, yet it strikes like a hammer. Nathan's jaw works. His voice scrambling for charm, for excuses. It's exaggeration. She's bitter. You can't believe. His words stumble, falter. He sees in Amy's eyes that the mask will no longer hold. The crowd sees it too. The polished man is gone. What stands in his place is raw, desperate, cornered. The ranch is silent, except for the restless shuffle of horses beyond the fence. As if even they sense the storm breaking, and then Nathan explodes. His voice rises, harsh, filled with anger. "No longer contained, you don't understand? None of you do. I was going to fix everything once this wedding was done." His confession spills out, not as a defense, but as a crack wide open, showing the truth he tried so hard to bury. Amy steps back, bouquet slipping from her hands into the dust. In that instant, she realizes the man before her is a stranger. She never truly knew. Asterisk, the arch still stands, the ribbons still flutter, but the wedding is gone. What remains is the hollow echo of broken trust. Amy stands in the center, her bouquet lying in the dust like a symbol of everything that just slipped from her hands. The guests whisper, unsure whether to leave or stay, as though they are frozen between celebration and disaster. The officiant quietly closes his book. Understanding that no words of blessing could heal what has just been torn open, Amy's chest rises and falls in uneven rhythm. Her dress feels heavy, her skin tight, as if the weight of Nathan's lies has wrapped around her like chains. She looks at him one last time, but there's no plea in her eyes, no longing for him to explain. There is only clarity, sharp and painful, like glass pressed against her heart. Nathan's betrayal has burned away whatever dream she tried to hold on to. The silence between them says more than any vow could. Jack moves closer, his hand gentle. On Amy's shoulder, he does not speak, because words would only crack the fragile air, but his steady presence tells her she is not alone. Lou follows, slipping her arm around Amy, guiding her away from Nathan's shadow. Katie, confused, clings to Lou's side, sensing that the fairy tale wedding she imagined has dissolved into something darker. Ty remains where he stands, a few feet away like a guard who has drawn a line that cannot be crossed. He does not rush, to her, does not claim victory. His eyes carry both sorrow and relief, sorrow for the pain Amy feels, relief that she is free from a trap she could not see. He knows this moment is not his to claim. It belongs to Amy, to her choice, to her strength. In standing against betrayal, he lowers his gaze, giving her space. But every part of him makes to step forward and steady her. Nathan, stripped of his charm, mutters curses under his breath. His eyes dart around, searching for a foothold, for someone who might still believe. Him, but no one does. Even Georgie, the youngest voice among them, meets his gaze with defiance. The letter in Amy's trembling hand speaks louder than all his excuses. Finally, under the weight of so many eyes, Nathan's bravado collapses. He turns sharply, shoving past a chair, and storms toward the drive. Gravel crunches under his boots, each step pounding with rage. until the sound fades into the distance. The ranch breathes again, a long exhale of tension. Yet the quiet is not peacy, it is grief. Amy lowers herself onto a chair, her hands trembling, the letter slipping from her fingers. Lou kneels beside her, whispering comforts that barely reach. Jack sets his hat on his knee, his weathered face bent with sorrow, wishing he could shield her from this kind of wound. Ty finally takes one step closer than another, stopping just before her. He speaks softly, not for the crowd, not even for the family, but for her alone. I didn't want to hurt you, Amy. I just couldn't let him take more from you. His voice cracks on the last word, but he steadies it with the truth of his heart. Amy lifts her eyes to him, glassy and searching. She does not answer, but in her look there is something unspoken, gratitude, sorrow, and the faintest spark of a bond that never truly broke. For a moment, time bends to souls who have walked apart, now standing inches from the bridge back to each other. But Amy's heart is raw, too raw for decisions, too raw for promises. She rises slowly, supported by Lou, and walks toward the house. Each step is heavy, yet each step is her own, a reclaiming of her strength. Ty watches her go, his chest hollow but steady, knowing this day was not about him winning her back. It was about her finding the truth, no matter the cost. The guests begin to leave, murmurs trailing like shadows. The ranch is left in quiet, but not silence. The air hums with change, as though the land itself has shifted. The wedding is gone, but something else has been planted in its place, painful, uncertain, but alive. And in that fragile soil, perhaps the chance for Amy and Ty's story to begin again. Evening drapes itself over the ranch, soft and gold, yet the air feels heavier than it should. The guests have long gone, leaving behind empty chairs and trampled petals, small ghosts of a wedding that never became one. The barn lanterns flicker. As the wind slides through, carrying the scent of hay and horses, inside the house, Amy sits at her dresser, still in her gown. The dress that once promised a new beginning now feels like a weight she cannot lift from her shoulders. Her hair has fallen loose, her makeup smudged by tears she did not plan to shed. Jack lingers in the doorway, hat in hand. He does not step inside yet. He has raised her like his own, watched her ride through storms, mend broken animals, stand strong when the world tested her. But this wound is different. It is not the kind that can be stitched or wrapped. It is the kind that changes. How a heart trusts. Jack clears his throat softly. You don't have to be strong tonight, he says. Just be honest with yourself. That's enough. His voice is steady, but his eyes glimmer with the hurt of seeing her broken. He sets the hat down and leaves her to the quiet, giving her space to choose her own way forward. In the barn, Ty brushes Spartan, each stroke steady, calming himself as much as the horse. The animal breathes deep, sensing the storm that passed, but also sensing Ty's unease. Ty whispers, she deserved better. She always did. He does not expect Spartan to answer, but the horse nudges his shoulder. A quiet reminder that honesty carries its own kind of strength. Ty leans against the stall door, torn between going to Amy and letting her heal alone. His chest aches with the thought of losing her for good, but he knows this night is not about his feelings. It is about hers. Lou and Georgie sit at the kitchen table, speaking in low voices. Georgie still trembles from the memory of Nathan's sharp words and the secret she overheard. Lou reaches across, squeezing her sister's hand. You did the right thing, she whispers. Georgie nods, but her eyes flick toward the window, where Ty's shadow moves in the barn. So did he, she says, even if it broke her heart. Lou doesn't answer, because she knows both truths can hurt and heal at the same time. Amy finally rises, unfastening the gown. It slips from her shoulders in silence, pooling on the floor like shed skin. She dresses in simple jeans and a worn flannel, clothes that feel like herself, not a costume for a life that was never real. She steps outside, the night air cooled against her skin, and finds her feet carrying her toward the barn. Each step is uncertain, but they are hers alone. Ty hears her before he sees her. He sets the brush down, his hand pausing on Spartan's mane. When Amy appears in the barn doorway, Both of them freeze. Her face is pale, eyes rimmed red, but there is no anger in them. Only exhaustion and a quiet strength returning like embers beneath ash. For a long moment, neither speaks. The barn creaks, the horse shifts, and the lantern light sways. Then Amy breaks the silence. "I thought I knew what I wanted. I thought moving on meant shutting the door on you." Her voice cracks, but she steadies it. What today showed me that letting go of you was never about love. It was about fear. Fear of being hurt again. Ty steps forward but keeps distance, careful not to crowd her. His voice is low, steady. "I don't expect you to decide anything tonight. I just needed you to see him for who he was. You deserve truth, Amy. Always." Out. Her eyes shimmer, torn. Between pain and something softer? She looks at him as though searching for the ground beneath her feet. And for the first time in months, she feels it solid beneath her again. Yet she does not answer, not with words, not with promises. Instead, she moves closer to Spartan, laying her hand on the horse's neck beside Ty's, for one heartbeat. Their hands nearly touch, separated only by a breath of air. The choice is not made yet. But the silence between them feels less like a wall and more like a bridge, waiting to be crossed. Asterisk, the night grows darker. Stars scattering across the wide Alberta sky, but inside the barn, a fragile light still burns. Amy lingers near Spartan, her fingers tracing the horse's mane, as if the steady rhythm could calm the chaos inside her. Ty remains close, but not too close, respecting the space she needs. Between them lies a silence that no longer feels heavy. It feels alive, carrying the weight of things unsaid, yet understood. From the house, Jack watches through the window. He sees the two figures in the barn, his granddaughter Rob standing, and the man who has carried her heart for so long, steady as ever. He exhales slowly, the kind of breath a man takes when he knows the land is safe after a storm. Lou joins him, wrapping her arm around his. "Do you think they'll find their way back?" she whispers. Jack studies the barn a moment longer before answering. "If it's real, the road will always lead them home." His words carry the certainty of years, of love weathered and tested. Georgie, restless, steps onto the porch, staring out at the dirt road where Nathan disappeared. The silence of the night feels almost too calm, like the quiet after thunder when you know the clouds still linger on the horizon. She whispers to herself, "He won't let it end here," and the thought sends a chill down her spine. She does not tell Lou or Jack, but she holds on to it, a shadow she cannot shake. Back in the barn, Amy finally turns to Ty. Her voice is soft, fragile but brave. "I don't know what comes next. I don't know if I'm ready to open that door again, but I do know one thing. You didn't let me fall today." Her eyes meet his, steady and unflinching, a spark of trust slowly rebuilding. Ty nods, his chest tight but steady. "I'll wait, Amy, as long as it takes." The promise is simple, not a plea, not a demand, just truth. And in that truth, Amy feels the first thread of hope weaving through the broken edges of her day. Spartan snorts softly, shifting his weight as though reminding them both that life goes on. Amy brushes his muzzle, then finally lets her hand drift closer to Ty's. This time, she doesn't pull away when their fingers touch. It is not a vow, not a grand declaration, but it is enough to remind them that some stories don't end with broken vows under an arch. Some stories begin again quietly, in the shadows of barns, with hands that still remember each other. Outside, the wind carries the last trace of Nathan's footsteps into the night, but it also carries the sound of new beginnings. The ranch, scarred but standing, seems to breathe easier. And beneath the endless sky, Amy and Ty face each other, not as strangers. It's not as ghosts of a past love, but as two souls who have survived the storm and now stand at the edge of a new horizon. The camera would fade there, lingering on the touch of their hands and the quiet fire of hope in Amy's eyes. A voiceover whispers the question that will carry into the next episode: is this the start of a second chance or the calm? Before Nathan's return,